All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have to give praise, I have to give praise to G2 because I think that they showcased the strongest adaptation to Spirit Blossom patch, in my opinion. So the big thing for me with the Spirit Blossom patch is that the grubs is a huge central point, and the momentum you carry from bottom side is insanely important. We had this game where they slammed a tank. So a big difference, right? If you take a look at G2, a big problem for them is that in order for them to have a very streamlined idea of how to play the game, playing tanks simplifies it very much. Why? First, BB can be weak side. BB can be weak side, and also BB contributes into the 4, right? When Caps, he contributes into the 4 in a 4-1. So when we take a look at things in terms of G2's history, when you look at where they were the most successful in this year, right? In this fucking year, you take a look at their winter. Where did they have the most success? It was exactly when they were playing the tanks. And the game was a lot more streamlined because obviously in winter there was still lane swaps active, but a big and important solution for them when they beat Casey for example, the first time, tanks were crucial in that. If you take a look at this win streak that they made in the regular split, if you just take a look at this game, it was all BB on tank, BB on tank, BB on tank, BB on tank, and Sheer is also playing a tank, but that's irrelevant to my point. And it streamlines the macro, because in mid-game, support just needs to mark, and they need to just right-click into Caps' lane, give him info to push, which is something that Caps loves. This is so important now because Caps needs to play champions that can be killed in isolation, right? Against, for example, a Pantheon. In the past, the macro was like he played Tristana and he can do crazy things. Yon can do crazy things, right? When he plays these champions, he still does crazy things. But now, when the meta being Talia, Azir, and then Victor / Orianna, pretty much mages, he needs some backup at times. And when you know already that BB always is going to be fine on the weak side, and you don't need to, create tempo swings to defend them, it becomes very streamlined to just right-click onto Caps' lane. So in terms of them figuring out the recipe, they pick the strongest AD. The teams also are aware of this, right? They ban Varus and Kalista. And the follow-up is simple. They create a circumstance where they carry momentum from bot, and with that momentum from bot, they create scenarios where they create swaps. Obviously, Sion has TP into bottom side, and what happens on the first initial base is that regardless of the tempo of bot, Sion can always TP into bottom side, push one wave, so Vitality is forced to match. Any team is forced to match. And the cool thing about playing a swap-oriented game, and the main thing to pay attention to, is that G2 always need a bot lane that can contest. If their bot lane can't contest and create momentum in the game, then they're going to lose out always when they swap. In this particular case, they have Ezreal and Leona into Xayah and Alistar. Varus Kalista being out. Ezreal very strong early levels because of his Q. They can create a scenario where they, of course, push. So they're always going to solve any carry pick like Vladimir picked into Sion. They're going to solve it by, of course, having a bot lane that pushes. That's the crucial thing. Let's continue. At the TP, Kaz uses sums, they have winning bot, and then here on the 4-minute timer is very important, the 4-minute timer. The 4-minute timer is extremely important because 4:30 is a cannon. So with the cannon wave, they can stack a wave and maybe dive Vladimir, and also the same thing on bottom side. It's just if the enemy overstays, you're going to carry tempo over and you're going to have a good time. It's just a cannon wave. You base before cannon wave, very good stuff. So now they open on top side. Now BB is going to just TP bot, and Nak is going to match because they're aware of this. BB now, of course, looking to crash this cannon. Early levels for Sion very easy against Vladimir. Vladimir needs to, of course, scale into the lane. Now you have this lane assignment here, where Zerona is into top side, and Vitality is forced to match, of course. And then it becomes less of a focus on Drake, of course, because They're looking to be in time for the grubbies. They look to crash this wave, and then the next one coming out is, again, the cannon wave. And Sion already based, so Ezreal Leona is forcing their base, so they're looking to crash into top side, and they base on cannon again. Ezreal goes into bottom side, and like this, they're getting their bases in, and they're carrying, of course, the tempo very well. Now Sion is in a mismatch, and Vitality's bot lane didn't base yet. And Vladimir is not pushing the bot cannon wave fast enough, because of course the 6-minute wave is also cannon. Well, 30 cannon, you know, and so forth. So getting your base in at 4 is very crucial to make sure that if the enemy stays and tries to push cannon, you still carry momentum over, and the same thing for 6. So Sion based after crashing the bot wave, and then he based into top side, and then Ezreal and Leona just based dry. Well, Leona got cancelled, right, but Ezreal just based dry, and then Leona crossed into mid. And now you see that Niski and Kazi don't have the best conditions, and Vladimir didn't base it on bottom side. And this is how they've solved and basically cracked their whole early game. And always create a scenario where their tanky Sion is very happy in the game because he can leverage his biggest strength. And now with this tempo swing, with Vladimir being on bottom side, Leona crosses into mid, and they of course commit all the way to the dragon. And now this is of course the big reason why such a strategy works, because the counterplay into the Sion isn't super clean. It's the same in game 2, where of course BB picked K'Sante. So Vitality don't have enough numbers on bottom side. They try to go on to Sion, and they try to, of course, kill him, regardless of the outcome here. 1-for-1, Sion is very happy because he gets majority of the wave, and Vitality's tempo is awful, while Ezreal and Leona are quite fresh on bottom side, with, of course, good condition. So Screamond hovers onto mid, Caps gets prio, Screamond is 6, and they push out Vladimir. The moment Vladimir, gives up the majority wave, they just start channeling recall. They know Alistar's tempo into bottom, which is, phenomenal play. G2 have found their team play again, and they're playing really good for tempo. So here they are not delaying. What I really like about this sequence, right, is that once again, this is a cannon wave. So the 7:30 wave is a cannon wave, and they are basing to be on time for the grubbies. In situations where you base an open bottom side with your bot lane, you can crack this wave, kill this wave, and then cross into mid and be in time for the grub spawn. The grubs being super important now, because the big difference is the void grubs right now, the effect of 3 is equivalent to the effect of 4/5. So you take the objective once, and also you already have very early on in the game the huge advantage in mismatch scenarios. So let's just take a look at the continuation. So you have Alistar already showing into bottom side, which is of course a mistake. And then it means that Ezreal and Leona are faster into top side. They start the grubs because Alistar showed them bot. I don't know why Alistar showed them bot. Here, Alistar showing on bot is quite bad. Kazi tempo is quite bad, and you see Ezreal is already opening on top side. Alistar could have been on mid lane right now, and they could have played a little bit of a faster game. Kazi is now here, and then Vitality are not ready because Chayak also didn't base. That's the cool thing about this whole situation, is that G2 take prio and they all base, right? So the huge crucial timers is the 4 into 4:30, right? The 6 and the 7:30, all cannon waves. All cannon waves, right? That's what everything that they are doing is centered around. And what's cool here is that Talia, Vi, and of course G2's bot lane get to sync up their bases. And as you can see, Jace stays for this cannon. If Jace bases and doesn't push that cannon, he's on the map right now. But Jace is not on the map. Vladimir is not on the map. Nobody's on the map. So it means they can take grubs for free, because every one of G2's members are all playing on the same momentum. It's really clean League of Legends. They play their sequences in cannon wave blocks. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which is super cool. I think G2 has done a fantastic job of kind of reinventing themselves in the Spirit Blossom patch. So they have the grubs, they have the Drake. Now they are like super happy, right? In any mismatch scenario, they crash the bot wave and Jace is catching, so they take any fight in river. Sion also has TP advantage, so they're super happy. This is just game over already. because obviously Vitality here is taking a fight with bad numbers. And the main thing is, right, they lose some summoners, but BB can easily cross into top side and go again. Ezreal's going to bot. And G2 just have momentum all over the place. They create a scenario here where they are mismatching, which is also the big benefit. If they're playing for tempo, right? They can always create scenarios where they mismatch. So even though Vitality here is hitting the Drake on bot lane that is even, they're very, very happy in this scenario. Ezreal's on mid wave, he's not under any threat. And then Naknaku has to flash out. Eventually Naknaku will die here, obviously. And they are super happy because once again, they have 3 grubs. Any mismatch is super, super good. Zaya's hitting bottom tower, but it doesn't really matter. Sion can easily cross into bot and, you know, start taking over. G2 hold on to top. They push out all the way. And here we're going to see a scenario where they open on bottom side. Talia is looking to catch one more wave because it's not cannon. And now she bases, and then BB will also look to recall and open on top. I think here BB should have based. I don't know why he didn't base. I think he should have based and open top. I think it's a slight mistake. Caps crosses into top side instead, and they maintain their matchups. Because I do think that they are going to cross into bottom side. There's a small discussion in chat about, you know, I really want to believe that City Watchmith should swap to support. But guys, it's a very different thing when he swaps and has 1 month to prepare. Like, this is his first split, and he didn't have enough time to prepare. Like, this was too impromptu to make a, like, comprehensive decision about people being able to role swap into support and doing well. This kid has had some fine games, he has had some horrible games, but I think his circumstance is not, like, ideal for what it is, you know? Like, I think if somebody switches to support, like, for example, when Perks switched to AD, they used the whole off-season Mickey and Perks to fucking duo queue. They did like 500 games, you know? So, I think the early game is the most interesting aspect. We could take a look at how G2 kind of convert. I think that they just do a good job of pushing out sides, basing, keeping momentum. G2, you're like Niski was kind of hinting. It is what it is. Let's take a look at the map open. Here, on even lanes, they just cross into top side, making sure that Jace can't push the neutral wave. They want to defend it, but instead they find the play on mid with Talia ult because the enemy has no tier 2. The game is finished. Let's take a look at the same concepts in game 2, how they play around it, because we have a Kesante. I don't know where I got Kesante from. Jax, I mean. They have a Jax. Let's see how they play the same concepts. So they have Varus and Renata. Obviously, this is a winning lane for G2 into the Nautilus. They're very, very strong. Because G2 don't apply the same concepts here because they had to base a lot earlier on bot. So they just cross into bottom side. I think Vitality just had very, very little prior on grubs. I think game 1 was a little bit more interesting than this. But I think the big one here is just BB managing to get the solo kill in the skill matchup. Which, of course, swings the game very, very heavily. That happened this moment here on bot. And after Caps died, Vitality didn't get the Bears off. Like, this is just game winning. So BB seems to be completely back. Okay. Well, either way, to summarize, I think G2's awareness of how they need to assign the lanes and how they need to make sure that Caps has information and vision, I feel like that's the biggest change up. I like that Lavrov is a little bit more active and, you know, moves a little bit more into sides to make sure that Caps has information and vision. Because I think in terms of them managing their economy, I think that's the biggest like change up for them. I think G2 also, like a big criticism I had towards them is that they don't fight compact enough and they don't fight around like specific areas. And I think that they've changed that up. Like here, I think it's a little bit bad that you don't have vision over where Aatrox is coming from, because this, of course, could get very dangerous here if I like this. In the end, Hansama gets a very, very good flash. I think if they had the information on Aatrox, it just becomes a lot easier because the fight became very hard for Hansama to play. I'm so confused because we have perma and replay here, so I'm trying to figure out how Niski died. And this kid's just trolling here. He just wasted so much time after putting words, just stuck around. I think it's really, really cool though that G2 like recognized, because they pushed out bot all the way, that they will be 5-man first into the enemy topside jungle. So they're just skipping mid wave and rushing. I think this is a really, really good read from G2. And Vitality had no concept of the tempo here and completely lost. All right, I think that's it for the G2 VIT series. I think G2 is looking like they are back. I think in terms of adapting to the new patch, I think that they have done a great job. So respect to them. I don't think Vitality played super well, but I feel like LEC is up for grabs because I think you know, Fnatic still looks kind of dirty, and KC looked a lot better against the Rogue, but I need to see a bit from KC. I think of course, the spring split is completely up in the air. It's kind of hype.